34 East Shore is a corner. It's a house on a corner, and that's my favorite kind of position in a subdivision, is a corner. In great part because you can see a lot more of the house and more of the architecture. It's not a slice of cake or a slice of the pie. You know, it is. It has a full-on view, and its ownership is really throughout the intersection, and all the space that it doesn't own really becomes under its realm and its perception. And so being on a corner, you know, I guess it becomes an obvious thought that you could enter the house on the corner too, as well, since it's a key feature and kind of the place to be. I've always loved side porches more than front porches. Because what's said on a side porch is a lot wickeder, you know, a lot more funny than it is on a front porch to me, because you kind of, you're under the misconception that people can't see you on the side porch. So you behave a little better when you're on the front porch. But that side porch entry became kind of a good, warm and fuzzy, casual way to enter a house that also possesses elegance and sequence in it as well. And what it does is it preserves the center of the house for that really still, beautiful salon that is meant to comprehend the lake and the countryside that it's in, and also in a backwards view to its kind of urban elegance, being the interior courtyards, which there are two in sequence of beyond it. So you have a feeling when you walk into this house, although it's large and it's rambling, it never feels big. It remembers that perhaps it was once cottage, and that it was a kind of a great roadside country inn, you know, with a couple of bedrooms up over it, and great, beautiful salon beneath it for entertaining and dining. And it has, every room in the house has multiple exposures. So part of the reason why you go to the country is to heal, is to feel better. So you go for the cure, and the cure is always going to be light and air, and to be in witness of something that's larger than you are, a larger context. And so great country houses, if they can possibly manage it, stay one room thick everywhere they get the chance. Because in a one-room deep house, you're going to have 2 or 3 exposures, no matter where you are, and that puts you in context to the world you're in out there and the reason you're there. So it decongests the house, it cracks it open in a way, and so it's brighter by being thinner, and its accessibility to an outdoor life is spontaneous. It's always right there at you. In many cases, when you enter a house from the front, you psychologically give the front yard back to the street and back to the public arena. And you mentally just keep walking until you get to the private part of the property. But in a lake house or a mountain house or a beach house, you're there to witness that. And in the case of this house, the lake is in the foreground of it, and you don't want to forget about it. You want to focus on it. And so, so by entering the side, you're giving the front yard back to the house. You're not giving it away to the public. You're taking it back, and the living room has ownership of it. It is not a vulnerable street front anymore, or a public lawn. It is it's part of your experience, and you have the opportunity to descend into it as you would go into any garden. You know, how you posture a house is just like how you would posture yourself, you know, or posture an animal on a piece of property, or how they would posture themselves. And to put the house in a relaxed pose means that it's happy to be where it is. It's not boastful of itself particularly. So by having the roofs be hipped as opposed to gabled, and have them roll down low as they can, and still retain the ability to use the second floor of the house and see out of it brightly, helps give the house sort of it makes it approachable. It's kind in nature. It is not a bully. Just as a tall man might lower his head when he meets you to almost make apology for his height, or an animal might walk lower as to say he means you no harm. The house does those things as well. So it's meant to let you know that you're welcome, and that it's you should have the feeling that you can't wait to get inside of it, because you can tell something's wonderful about being in there looking out. I think the great mistake that's made in what people tend to build these days, once they get to the station in their life when they can afford to build it, is they build something that's so big you can't even feel it anymore. And once you live there, you tend to keep walking through that volume until you get to a place that you can deal with, which is usually a dart that you make between the kitchen and the master bedroom. But you don't really bother stopping in that two-story living room, because you don't know what to do with yourself. It's literally kind of tearing you apart. So compression is a great tool that is a forgotten tool. And so you need both things. You need compression and release in rhythm, in repetition, throughout any good environment. It massages everything. It sets you up for that kind of beautiful release through big bay windows and walls of glass and corners of glass. But there is an equal need in kind of the nurturing of your spirit, that you also want to be held. You want both. You want to be in the lap of your grandparents, but you want to be invited into that great big world that is beyond there. You want both things. And so routinely this house tends those paired emotions. It happens in the living room, salon, dining area. It happens in the kitchen. It happens in the house at large, really, as you kind of peruse it and you sequence it around its open courtyard core on the interior. The palette of materials that exist on all of these houses are time-proven materials. They are not the newest thing. They are not composite things that maybe even seem or are said to perform better than other things. They are the things that become more beautiful every year of their life. They are also the things that are worth maintaining because of their beauty. The copper flashings and roofs, the slate, the wood, the shutters that will sag maybe a little bit over time, which lets you know they're real. All of those little signals are human signals, that this is bone and flesh that you're looking at here. Part of the beauty of anything is its vulnerability. And that comes in some of the materials, and some of the beauty comes in its strength and permanence. The slate roofs and the stone and the things that will never erode and will never change, only to gain patina that will make it more beautiful with each passing day. And those are really the kind of things that I zero in on when making choices for houses, is what choice is going to be something that will look better every day of its life, the longer it lives, and what things won't ever look as good as they did when they were new. And I run away from that last choice and run towards the other one. When I go into older homes that I love and that we all have the capacity to love, the first thing that I realize in any house that has any age on it is that the next owner immediately tears all the cabinetry out of the house. They gut it and they recreate the cabinetry. So when I think about where do I put my investment in a house, I am timid about putting the investment of expression in cabinetry so much. And so I tend to stay away from wall cabinets as a language in kitchens, and keep all the cabinetry low, but do auxiliary spaces, walk-in pantries, working pantries, auxiliary kitchens that are adjacent, so that the kitchen itself, that is the social activity of cooking, the actual making of things, its program is diminished down to lovely big surfaces and a lot of interaction between people and faces. It is a social center for the house. And right there at the end of its aisle are these great pantries and these other retrieval points where other tasks are done, but mostly things are gotten. You know, your little Williams-Sonoma pantry of goods, you know, is right there, and you're not opening and closing cabinet doors and slamming and bamming and looking like you're mad finding things. You just simply set foot in the doorway, and there it all is. Glad to see you and ready for use. In the case of all of these houses, their nature is that they're kind of a dream sewn up in cotton more than silk. There is a commonality to its material that makes it kind and approachable and everyday. It's casual, but you can take it to church. All of these houses are American. They absolutely are American houses, very gladly. And I think in terms of the timing of kind of culturally where we are and the things that we've done, we've built our English houses, we built our French houses, French country houses. So I think the best thing to do is we've made our tour of the world and we've built all of those mansions that most people would love to shake and get away from. It's just to come home and build 3 really eloquent American houses.